What's going on, YouTube? Ledger here once again, and man, the problems just keep coming in this community. Holy Jesus. Jeez, when it starts from being upset with the storytelling of Star Rail to dealing with the HP inflation and the power creep, and dealing with HP inflation in other games, dealing with, scummy practices in other games, and then AI and strikes and all kinds of stuff. And now it's the Castorice passives. Guys, I gotta admit, I'm tired. I'm pretty tired of all that stuff right there. I mean, granted, I don't even talk about that kind of stuff on my channel like that. But I try to be part of the community outside of making videos. In streams, like I'll be in people's streams. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I try to be a part of the community because as someone who doesn't have a lot of people in real life that have interest in any of the stuff that I really do like that, it's real important for me to kind of have an online community to be able to share these things with. That's why I like responding to all comments that I have on my videos, because, I like sharing these experiences with people and stuff. So I like being part of the community. But man, it's problem after problem after problem in this community, I gotta tell you. And this week's problem, or this week's second problem, I should say, is the Castorice situation when it comes to the anniversary. Now, when I say I'm tired of all this stuff and so on and so forth, I'm not trying to belittle the problems that people are bringing up, because the fact of the matter is, the situation with Castorice, for those of you guys who aren't familiar, is that Castorice is coming, right? And she is a cracked unit, as normally new units are in this game. But the fact of the matter is, she has an ability called a global passive. And that global passive, what it does is it gives you one free revive per battle. It's not like a full revive. It has stipulations and stuff where you have to heal the character or else they're just going to die again. But they have a passive that basically works and revives your character, right? Which sounds, she's a god of death. Sounds kind of cool. But the special thing about a global passive is that it works even if she is not on the team. Now, this is problematic for a couple reasons. Not because it is a powerful passive, because it isn't. A lot of people think that it's too powerful. That is not the case. It's not a powerful passive. We already have revive when it comes to Bailu, or some other sustains might have it with Eidolons. But you notice that newer sustains don't really do that, because at the end of the day, a revive just isn't a good ability. If you're dying in battle, that means that you're losing, and typically things don't go that well after you start dying. So the ability itself isn't a problem, but the problem is it's a slippery slope. It can go in a bad way, right? Where if this ability gets stronger with newer characters, then we can find ourselves in a bad place where you feel obligated to get certain characters because they're going to buff your entire account in more ways than one. Me personally, I don't have much concern for this, right? Because one, it's a clearly bad idea for them to make it much stronger. And also two, the ability itself isn't that strong. And three is that I can only get so mad at a hypothetical situation, right? If something hasn't happened, I can't be enraged yet, all right? It's just how it is. And also, too, I think what kind of dampers my reaction to it is the fact that in this community, there's a problem every single week. All the time. It's always something, Everybody's mad about something. And I've talked about it in recent videos if you haven't seen me talk about it at all. But I just had to deal with some real life things that stress you out, And when you're dealing with real life stuff and you go to the place where you go for peace, like your video games or whatever, and you go there and they're just stressing out even more, over something that matters even less. You know, you're just like, I don't care. You know, I just want to play my game. You know, and honestly, if you're somebody that's like that, I'm here to say that's okay, because this is a very unpopular opinion, because I've said in public spaces outside of YouTube videos where I say, hey, I don't really think that this is that big of a deal, you know, and you know, got roasted at the stake, you know, so it's an unpopular opinion, but you know, if you feel the same, you know, it's just, you know, protect your peace. Do what you can to protect your peace. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we play video games to have fun, you know. Like, when we were younger kids, like, imagine people raging and going upset because, you know, Tails doesn't carry Sonic that long anymore when you're trying to fly, you know. Like, oh, they need a buff Tails, you know. Like, imagine us raging over that and stuff like that online, you know. And that's kind of how it is now, you know. At the end of the day, we're playing video games, and the reason we're playing video games is de-stress, right? And it's important to fight for and stand up for what you think that you deserve when it comes to these services that these companies are providing, especially a gacha game company where they're getting a lot more money from us than deserve at the end of the day. But at the same time, you can also overshoot the mark to the point where you're stressing way too much and you're losing sight of the true goal is to have fun playing a video game, you know? It is what it is. Especially in this situation where people are looking at this anniversary that's coming up as a disaster, right? They're looking at it as it's like this horrible thing that we're dealing with here as a whole, when in reality, it's a pretty good anniversary, guys. When you list out what they're doing, it's actually the best, like, it's better than last anniversary, I'll tell you that. It's better than last anniversary. So obviously, it's better than the Genshin anniversaries. And there's not really any main gacha anniversaries we can compare it to. But, like, it's this fantastic anniversary. We're getting a free Ron May or Luocha, which is fantastic. We're getting announcement that we're going to get another free 5-star even after that. You know, people think they know who that is, but, you know, I'm not going to say who that is. That's something I'd rather just not know, even though I saw the leaks and stuff. We're getting a rework of the 50-50 system, which is great. I mean, some people say that, you know, Hoyo created the whole 50-50 situation, so, like, they created a problem to give us a solution, or a half-assed solution to it, which I can see the point of that, but at the same time, too, a lot of gacha games that I played before Genshin didn't have pity at all, so it is what it is. Yeah, but, I mean, it's still a pretty big improvement to do that, because now we're opening up the door to where we're going to be able to get eidolons of older characters that we still like. And the thing about when you get eidolons for older characters, the more their longevity is in the game, the longer they last in the game, right? Yeah, so they added that, and, you know, obviously we're getting our anniversary events where they're gonna give us a whole bunch of jades and stuff. Yeah, and they added a whole bunch of optimizations and things like that in order to the stuff that they're giving us is pretty. Oh yeah, and 30 wishes and such, you know, all kinds of stuff. If you've seen the live stream, you know, it was. They gave us top-up obviously, we get the top-up refresh since this anniversary. They've also given us a way to be able to get free 5-star light cones, are limited. I believe I believe to get them, you get them as like as a bonus for when you actually do spend money. I believe that. I'm not sure if they're gonna supply any other ways to be able to get the light cones, but I'm sure they will. You know, don't hold me to that, but I'm sure they will. They announced that what units they're gonna, or old units they're gonna buff first, whereas Blade, Kafka, Jingliu, and Silverwolf, I believe that's it. Yeah, and they also announced the different ways they're gonna rework the story in the future, and things that they're adding in the future when it comes to previous story to give additional context and add more to the story. So they're doing a lot. It's a great anniversary, but all the attention is being brought to by the Castorice a global passive, and that kind of sucks. But, you know, I wasn't really going to say much about this, mainly because, like, it's a hot take that I have where it's not as big of a deal everybody's making out to be. People are uninstalling, people are going crazy, so on and so forth. They're saying I hate this and that, blah, blah, blah. They're stressing out like they have been every other week. And, to say that you don't think it's a big deal is quite a hot take nowadays. So I was reluctant to want to say to say this, but I feel like it should be talked about because, it's a hot take, but other people feel the same. Number one, and it's a conversation to have. It's a conversation to have, and I'm curious to see what other people's thoughts, if anybody's like-minded or anything like that. But yeah, I kind of just want to throw in my 2 cents when it came to this, because it's become quite a big deal, and it just feels like it's going to be a reoccurring thing. Wuha isn't safe, because they're all gacha companies. Wuha isn't safe. Eventually, people are going to turn on Wuha. ZZ isn't safe. People are eventually going to turn on ZZZ, and the people are going to realize these are gacha companies, and it is what it is. But definitely let me know what you guys think. And when I say that, it's not just for people who disagree with me. If you don't disagree, go ahead and let me know in the comments. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm open for discussion. And yeah, at the end of the day, just remember it's a video game, and you're here to have fun. If you're not having fun, then go do what you need to do to have fun. And yeah, just don't stress out too much. But yeah, with that, I'll end it there. Legend out.